I'm Cape Joel, and this is Comic Smack, your weekly, daily, all the time, anytime comic show where I give you your fix of everything you need to know from the world of comic books and superheroes. And on today's show, we are taking a closer look at Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man, issue number 298. Spidey is wanted by both government agencies and supervillains alike. Who will get him first? Well, let's hop on in together and find out. So, at the end of the previous issue, Peter Parker had given himself up so the cops would no longer hassle his aunt. Shockingly, the cop who's watching him at the moment is actually a fan of Spider-Man, something that's getting rarer and rarer to find in the comic universe. Now, Agent Mintz, the leader of the Grey Blade, the one who's been hounding Spider-Man's kinda sorta sister Teresa, puts the screws to him, saying that if Parker knows what's good for him, he'll get his employee Spider-Man to give himself up. Peter, being the hardcore superhero gangsta that he is, knows you don't snitch to the police, especially when the person they're asking you to snitch on is yourself. Eventually, Pete gets saved by the last-minute intervention of the Human Torch and Teresa, who managed to sneak inside the police station by borrowing some of Ant-Man's old shrinking tech. I mean, sure, it gets Pete out the door and everything, but he's still no less wanted than he was before. If nothing else, though, talking to Mintz did actually open Spider-Man's eyes a little bit. He knows that the superhero dossier that his sister is being hunted for was compiled by famous supervillain weaponsmith, the Tinkerer, which means he's at the center of all of this going on, which also means Mason, the Tinkerer's brother who outfits the superhero community, is also still in danger. In a fun little B-plot, we discovered J. Jonah Jameson, who just recently discovered Peter Parker is Spider-Man, is also working this Tinkerer case, trying to find the Bar with No Name, a famous villain hangout, by harassing Shocker. Now, while Teresa is totally gung-ho and wants to take the fight directly to the Tinkerer, Spider-Man has other ideas. They are hoping that if they can both get to San Francisco, then Peter's friends over at Horizon Labs will be able to help Teresa get the nano information out of her bloodstream, but escaping the city is going to be a lot easier said than done, as it seems the Tinkerer has called in every supervillain favor he has, which is a lot. The Vulture makes a reappearance, but he's not alone. He's backed up by Whiplash. What version of Whiplash? No one cares. Spider-Man and his sister, who is now flirting with the idea of taking a superhero name of her very own, duke it out with the guys on the bridge. The fight is ultimately won, though, when our duo receives some very unlikely help in the form of Black Panther. Yeah, the King of Wakanda, everyone, is making the rounds, no doubt because he has a movie coming out and it's good to get his face out there. You see, T'Challa, as we discover, also has an invested interest in this superhero dossier not leaking out, and he even uses his connection as King to try and get Teresa asylum at the Wakanda embassy in New York. They better hurry, though, because even though the Vulture got his ass kicked, he manages to report back to the Tinkerer, and it looks like he's gonna have to call in even more favors to bring down Spider-Man and Teresa. So that was Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man, everybody, and I gotta admit, this series is really starting to cook now. It had a bit of a slump there in the middle, but it's really picked up in a big way. Honestly, I'm digging the whole Spider-Man versus a shadowy government agency thing, having to do stuff that he's not used to doing as a more street-level vigilante. Teresa is really starting to grow on me as a character. She's a lot more brash and impulsive than Peter is, and they make a nice little twosome in that regard. Zdarsky continues to infuse the book with some humor, and if you were a fan of his Star-Lord book, you'll be happy to hear that they dropped some fun little references to that book here and now. All in all, a pretty solid read with a pretty solid cameo. I would give this one an 8 out of 10. So that's Spider-Man, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it, and as always, be sure to take a look at some of the other videos I have available from the channel. Then you can follow me on social media at Cape Joel, so you always know what I got coming out next. And hey, if you're looking to get a great deal on trade paperbacks, please use my book depository link down in the description. Not only will you save a bundle and not have to pay for shipping, but everything you buy via my link helps me out, which is always nice. And until next time, everyone, this has been Cape Joel. Thank you so much for watching and listening, and I'll see you all again later. Bye-bye.